Now, when most people are talking about AI, we're talking about like popular level AI, right? Which is like LLMs, like ChatGPT and stuff like that, because ChatGPT came on the scene and basically made AI like accessible to use for the average person, right? AI was a thing way before that, but it just became popular level and available and usable by people at scale. So AI does that, but also I think what's interesting is like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just like a stochastic parrot or whatever, right? It's just a exactly what I just said, where it just like will output a format that's probabilistically the most. Well, that's not necessarily true, because it is doing a really great job of mimicking and following patterns. And one of those patterns is like chains of reasoning, right? That's a thing that AI, researchers and programmers have done a pretty good job of implementing now. If you look at like ChatGPT, you can see the reasoning chain and all that. DeepSeek was one of the early LLMs that introduced that or whatever, or that sort of like showed it. So Grok does that. Like they're all doing that now. And so reasoning can sort of be emulated, right? And people are like, oh, well, people never be able, AI will never be able to like create a creative masterpiece that's truly original, right? And I kind of go, well, the creative process is a process, right? And a machine, an AI can look at a process and it can copy it, right? And the process of coming up with new processes is a process, right? So it's totally false that it's not going to be able to do all these things. It is going to be able to do all these things, and it will keep progressing. There's nothing we're going to do about that. So there are some good things and some bad things that'll come out of that, right? I like to think that it's going to be a really great thing long term, but I do think it's going to be a little hard for us as a society in the short term, because it's the sort of thing where it's like AI can take anything that that you want, any particular output, and it can sort of grab all this stuff and get it to that output, right? And so much of people's jobs is that, right? Now for me, because I'm always just trying to get to this end outcome or whatever, right? Like I'm really excited about that. I'm like, sweet, this thing can like do my spreadsheets faster. Awesome. This thing can like, write some starter copy that I can use faster. Oh, sweet. This thing can write part of this program faster for me. Amazing. I love it, But a lot of jobs have had so much stability because there is that sort of predictable, like, hey, this is going to take 30 hours. Can you slot it in this week? Oh, great. Now you can work, 6-7 hours a day on it, and you'll be able to get it done and still have a little margin time and things like that. Like that sort of like planning out your work time and like, that sort of deep work that you're working on for a long period of time. It's just, sort of becoming less common, which I think has a mental health impact on people, because they just don't have that like steady work to work on. And the work is so messy, I don't think there's going to be less work. I don't. I think that's a really poor conception of what work is.
That's interesting. And sorry, but you mentioned a couple of different things about like messy work, less structure, things like that. And it kind of gets back into a little bit of your background and your history. You kind of mentioned, hey, I'm not, don't jump into things as the most organized situation.
Yeah, totally.
And it reminds me a little bit about myself in some scenarios as well. And like, as I think about AI and how I've been able to leverage it, it's like, wait a minute. I historically like bounce around a little bit.
Yep.
I try to plan out, but still I get onto this thing, a little bit of ADHD when it comes to the way I get things done. Right. But like when it comes to leveraging AI, I can get something started, whether I'm, having deep research or something, get something started, and then I'm moving on to the next thing. Once it's done, then I plug it in and I like thrive in that, right?
Totally.
It like works really well for me, but I can see how someone's like going to sit there and wait for this to get done, or like, they're going to need that structure. And I hadn't thought about that aspect of it before, where certain types of people might thrive in that little more chaotic scheduling of work. than what you talked about with the 30 hours.
Yep. Well, and I think, yeah, so there is a huge societal impact of that, right? I don't think that AI is going to mean like less work or whatever, right? Because the main reason I say that is because people have infinite ideas, right? People just have so many ideas that they want to try and things that they want to do and stuff that they want to build and all that. And so let's say that the average, this is an example I've used, right? So I took our sales guy out to the window of our building and I said, look out there. How many businesses can you get to in in 15 minutes? He's like, oh, I don't know, like 1,500 maybe. Like there's so many businesses out there. And I said, okay, cool. How many of them can afford to build a software? Like a real full-fledged software is like $100,000 or $200,000, right? It's expensive. There's a big barrier of entry. It takes a long time to like figure it all out and get it. He's like, out of those ones out there, I don't know, like 50, 20, and so I'm like, okay, cool. So once, let's say software can be done for $5,000 or like $3,000. And we can just do it a lot faster, and you just do the project management steps in between to get it done instead of like having 100 hours that you have to spend working on code. How many businesses are now interested in building a software? And he's like, oh my gosh, like 1,500. Yes, exactly. So that's one thing that happens, right? Is like all of a sudden everybody's got this democratized chance of competing and trying their idea, right? And I think that's a cool thing in a lot of ways because the barrier of entry becomes lower. But there is also so there is what I call the value cycle of tech, right? This basically what happens is tech comes in and it makes a promise, and that's the sales of tech in Silicon Valley and all that. The sales message is, hey, you can do the same thing other people do, get the same results in less time, right? And you're going to deliver the same value that they deliver. You're going to get compensated the same way that they get compensated. You're going to get respected the same way they get respected. But with my tool, you can do it in less time, right? And so people are inherently attracted to things that take effort, right? People are attracted to fit people. It's really hard to be fit. There's a lot of food around that's really interested that I'm really interested in eating, and there's a lot of it's really hard to get to the gym and make the time. It's really hard to push out that last rep, and it's really hard to make time to spend on the treadmill and all that, right? Like fitness is really hard. People are attracted to people with money, right? It's hard to get money. It's hard to get out there and negotiate all the deals and work on it and all that. People are attracted to really great soccer players. It's really hard to kick a ball around a bunch of people who are trying to keep you from kicking the ball around them and then score. All those things are really hard to do, which is why we inherently value them. And so tech comes in, makes this promise. That's the sale, right? They're like, oh, you can do the hard thing and you can get the respect and you can get the value. But it's going to be easy for you because of this tool. And for the early adopters, that's actually true, right? They do come in and they are like, whoa, the first college students to ever figure out that they could just have ChatGPT write their essay. Yeah, they were shredding through essays. But then what ends up happening is our recognition, once it becomes more commonplace, is once that resource becomes more commonplace and everybody has ChatGPT and everybody knows about ChatGPT, the value perception goes down, right? Because the economy doesn't work based on value. This is a huge problem with West Michigan has a huge problem recognizing this. The economy of the world does not work on value, it works on perceived value. And so the perceived value, once we realize that something is easy, goes down, right? So the essay that you're like, oh, I would pay you $100 for that essay. Now I'll pay you $1 for that essay, So that's the problem. That's the problem, is that we are in this continual value cycle, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll just be the early adopter. It's hard to be an early adopter. It's hard to always be on top of the new technologies and always be creating more value with new technologies first. It's just as hard to do that as it is to just get good at what's already there and work really hard at that within the standard conventions of how things are used.